Hercule Poirot, I've found something. I am the smartest person I ever met, and I can't figure it out, so I came to the second.
You are up to something, my friend.
I've seen a million of these so-called psychics, each one a fake.
I do not believe in psychics.
Come with me to a séance. Spot the con I can't.
Detective, you are here to discredit me, but I can talk to the dead.
Something in this house tried to kill me. No one shall leave until I find if the living have been killed by the dead.
A retired, world-famous detective is summoned to a Halloween party on the Venice Canal to witness a séance. Once the party ends, the séance begins. A massive thunderstorm keeps the remaining guests sheltered in place to solve a fresh murder. Hey everyone, welcome back to Clubhouse Movies Podcast. I'm your host, Marc Rubalcaba, joined once again by Mr. Abel Pineda. Today we'll be reviewing A Haunting in Venice, directed by Kenneth Branagh.
Sacre bleu!
Every murderer is somebody's old friend. I liked this movie, and I think I'm going to start off by saying this movie probably had some of the best cinematography I've seen in a while.
And you know what's crazy is that's the reason I saw it, man. If there's one thing I'm a sucker for is good cinema, and you just would not stop harping on it. And I was like, you know what, man? I'll give this one a shot.
Yeah, and it was
not like I had a choice.
I kind of want to see it because of the trailers, and it kind of came during the writer's strike, so there wasn't like a whole lot of great stuff out.
Yeah,
and the whole 2023 movie sphere hasn't been great. And when I saw this, I'm like, oh, good. It's a non-universe movie, or it's a non-franchise movie that I was thinking. And I saw it, and I really liked it. I liked all the characters. I loved the way it was filmed, and it was just a very good romp. Until I saw the credits at the very end. Did you catch the credit? It says, based on a Halloween party by Agatha Christie.
No, I did not.
So and kind of like right.
You were smart, man.
Here's the thing. I've been bamboozled before like this, but only once before, and I'll tell you what happened. A long time ago, I saw a movie, I saw a trailer to a movie, I should say, called Army of Darkness.
You guys know that one? Yeah.
And I saw Army of Darkness. I thought it was great, and it's probably one of my all-time favorite movies. And then before the internet, I'm gonna say maybe somewhere between 8 to 10 years later, I found out that it's actually part 3 in a threequel. Evil Dead 1, Evil Dead 2,
that was weird.
Army of Darkness. This movie is part 3 in a threequel.
Wait a minute. How is it a threequel? Like, watching this movie, I'm like, I feel like there's some disconnect. Like, I feel like I should know more about these
well, the thing about
characters.
It is, Kenneth Branagh directed this, and he played Hercule Poirot. And he directed it. He directed it, right?
See, I didn't look into it at all. I was like, I was just so enamored by it that I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to ruin this for myself. I'm going to watch it once.
And I think I was just so kind of like, like the Glass Onion, right? You don't know who Daniel Craig is. You don't know who is Benoit Blanc. It's just kind of. But I believe that this movie, or I should say the Knives Out franchise, is probably an ape or a play or copy of these Agatha Christie stories. And I say Christie.
Agatha Christie.
Okay, in House of 1,000 Corpses, there was...
Listen, I had some chicken earlier this week. Yeah. It was great. Now I want more.
In House of 1,000 Corpses, the cereal they're eating is called Agatha Christie. Agatha Crispies. And anyway, so I get them confused. Okay, so you're going to recognize maybe these two names. Are you ready? And I think I know why I didn't see them. Because I heard they were good when they came out. But the first one was Murder on the Orient Express, starring Johnny Depp.
Wait a minute. Really? So that means we're going to have to watch these.
Yeah, also starring Kenneth Branagh as Hercule Poirot, directed by Hercule Poirot. And the second one was Death on the Nile, starring Gal Gadot.
Dude, here's the thing. Both of those movies bombed in theaters.
Well, here's the thing. I don't think they bombed in theaters necessarily. I just think that they were such low. Like, this movie was kind of low on the radar, but it was advertised as like a horror movie, along with all the other horror movies. So like, it was kind of on my radar when I saw like Saw X. Yeah,
and you know what? I think that's what saved this one. It's like what was it? Like, it's like I feel like the Orient Express and the whatever on the Nile.
Death on the Nile.
Death on the Nile. I feel like those were definitely, they felt like Netflix movies, and I didn't know what to make of them. So I honestly, I didn't give them a chance.
Yeah,
I'm like, you know what?
I think that
I am going to skip these.
That was part of it too. They felt kind of like Netflix movies just looking at them. But they also looked like they were heavy on the CG, especially I think Murder on the Orient Express. It looks super stylized. And
and I can't get behind stuff like that, man. It just feels weird. It's just like, you know what? And the funny thing is, you mentioned that, but you're watching this movie, and like I don't know if you remember the text. I said this movie is so, like, the cinema is so effortless.
Okay, so I think that what really sold this one, especially in the first, like the prologue, was its Venice setting. Like it's like you could practically feel the cobblestone walls and the water, and just looking at the just looking at this video, and the big wide shots of just him sitting like having tea on the rooftop.
Yeah, with his little crumpets.
Yeah, it was good.
Sauce there of coffee.
Whereas I think I just saw CG garbage on the for the trailers of Death of the Nile and Murder on the Orient Express, but they were all directed by Kenneth Branagh, mostly starring him. But I also was thinking, like, maybe I just don't like Gal Gadot that much, and when I see her like starring in a role, I'm like, okay, like I don't need to see this.
Oh God, Red Notice or Red whatever the heck.
Red Notice, yeah. And then the other one was starring Johnny Depp, or at least Johnny Depp was first on the thing, with Kenneth Branagh in the background. But
so weird.
This is the threequel of the
Agatha, and you know what? They're both featured. So if you go onto IMDb and you go, where at the bottom it says more like this. If you look up A Haunting in Venice, it shows Murder on the Orient Express and Death on the Nile there.
Yeah. So I am gonna watch them. I haven't had a chance to watch them because I want to review this one first, and I want to go on cold, unless we were going to do a Christieverse film, but I wasn't quite ready for that. So we'll put this one on its own merits, and I think the only thing I can really compare it to at this moment that we saw kind of recently was Glass Onion, to which I don't think I think for the reasons why I didn't want to see Death on the Nile and Murder of the Orient Express is because they just look too cliche, whodunit, super stylized mansion murder kind of things, and I think. Even though Glass Onion took place in a mansion, the mansion looked like crap. It was like all glass and like weird. And he tried to make it a big glass onion or whatever, I guess. But this one took place in a palazzo during the storm in the dark. And it was creepy. What is it?
Post World War II in the rain?
The rain. And
come on. The building
on Halloween
was its own character. Yeah.
On Halloween.
I'm disappointed we didn't do this on Halloween. I didn't expect this to be as good as it was, or it really was or is an enticing movie. I mean, really, just watch it and enjoy it.
And it's a good Halloween movie for that reason. I just like the plague doctors on the gondolas on the Venice Canal. Like that was pretty.
So
plague
awesome.
Doctors are creepy as is. Like they're these Grim Reaper figures with the beak masks and the eyes.
Yeah.
And I don't know how
No, I was gonna say, why they wore the beak masks?
Yeah,
right?
because it was filled with like herbs and spices that they thought they would keep away the plague.
Yeah, idiots.
Yeah. Well, what's funny now is the plague mask, beak mask, is also seen in like Eyes Wide Shut, like orgy scenes now. So,
oh no!
So somehow they're also associated with fertility, for probably beaky reasons.
So weird.
So just kind of getting into some of the plot here. And I think I was going to say I like this a lot better than I like Glass Onion. It was just just a heck of a lot more fun. But getting into the plot, Kenneth Branagh is Hercule Poirot, and he's got his handlebar, twisty mustache, looking snooty and French, and I think that this guy sells a little more than Daniel Craig as his Benoit Blanc.
I think so too. What's funny is Benoit Blanc he felt too extra. It's like Daniel Craig, and now me living in the South. You don't hear someone speak. You don't hear someone speak like that too much. I'm like, listen here, Savannah, Georgia. It's not right, man.
Speaking of the South,
yeah,
I don't know if you really have much experience with Kenneth Branagh. I think he was in a couple of Harry Potter movies, but he also played Dr. Hollis Lovelace in the Wild Wild West movie starring Will Smith.
I do remember.
He was the Spider King who had no legs.
He was all guts, no glory.
I just liked Will Smith toasting the guy because he had no legs.
Oh, the roast? That was the best.
Yeah. Way to roast a handicapped guy, but it's okay.
Oh, man. He's like, keep your feet out my mouth.
Yeah. So he is retired, and there's always a line of people outside his home on the Venice Canal, looking for him to solve mysteries, and he always ignores them until one day, Tina Fey.
We forgot to mention when he walks out every time he gets chased by somebody, he has a very a surly character that is his bodyguard.
Yeah.
That just chucks people right into rivers.
And much like
the canal.
Much like typical whodunits, and I do like this movie because Kenneth Branagh does at some point, Hercule Poirot does say, "It is my job to discover who done it."
Like, when he said it, I was like, "Oh, there's the thing."
Yeah, Leo, like pointing at the camera there. I saw it with the subtitles on when I saw it the next couple of times, because I saw it in theaters, then I saw it at home a bunch of times, but the actual subtitle actually said, "Who done it?" But there's a lot of characters in here, so I'll just kind of say who they are, as they're in relation to the plot, and maybe who their actors are, because there's so much going on here. But yeah, his surly bodyguard is always taking care of him, pushing people into the canal, and generally, he's a Benicio del Toro looking guy. Yes. Who's a former cop that we'll learn. But he's eating, Hercule Poirot is eating by himself his tea and crumpets, or maybe his coffee, I don't know, at the top of his home when Tina Fey shows up, gives the bodyguard an apple and says, "This is the way to get to talk to this detective." So have you seen Only Murders in the Building?
No, I have not.
I feel like Tina Fey plays the exact same character in that show than she does to this, where she's a true crime podcaster. So here she is an author of true crime.
I've heard of this.
Yeah.
Yes.
And she plays, very very ostentatious. She's always talking like this, she's got a sing in her step.
Like, I'm from the 40s, kid. You wouldn't get it.
Talks in that cadence. The kids came back. Yeah. They came back from a thing, and they brought Halloween with them. It's all good.
Jazz hands.
Yeah. So she's telling Poirot, who is a detective and solves apparently 2 Death on the Nile and the murder on the Orient Express at some point in the past. Says, I got a mission for you, or I got a case for you. And it's a séance, and I want you to witness this séance because it's the real deal, right? Mm-hmm. And it happens on Halloween, and somehow she's able to convince him to go to this Halloween party on this. They call it Palazzo, so I'm just assuming it's palace on. What they say, how they say palace in Italian, or over the water or whatever.
Palazzo.
The palazzo. And I remember watching Hannibal. It's the Palazzo Vecchio. It's kind of remind me a lot of that too. Yeah. That's when you see the plague doctors. It does take place on Halloween, and all the creepy ceramic masks everywhere. So it takes place at this palazzo where there is a children's Halloween party first, and they talk about that this place is haunted because during the Blitz or some sort of bombing. And all the sick kids. The children's vendetta. He's a vendetta. The children's a vendetta. During the
remember the 5th of November.
Yeah, that was like the other day too. During the Blitz, the doctors and nurses and all the caregivers fled the children to die in the basement during the Blitz. Yeah. So they will forever haunt the vendetta as long as you're not a doctor or a nurse. You will live. You will live. You will survive the night. Not any of you are doctors and nurses. By the way, I like the shadow puppetry in this scene where they did the prologue. That was
very creepy, man.
Yeah,
I was like, ho.
Yeah.
Plagues make people afraid, and fear makes people do terrible things.
I also like this touch where they did the shadow puppetry. And they did it on like a projector screen. and there was like a sheet, and then it turned into a ghost.
Oh yeah, it turned into a ghost. That was those practical effects were very nice.
Which reminds me, we should do Dracula, Bram Stoker's Dracula, directed by Francis Ford Coppola, maybe for Halloween next year. I think you might get a kick out of it. But anyway,
should be fun. I'm down.
Yeah. So that happens, then we kind of learn more about the background of everyone living at this place. So there's the mom, right? Her daughter killed herself, threw herself over the balcony and into the water and drowned in the water. And then that's who they're trying to contact in the seance. Then there's the doctor who looks kind of like Henry Cavill. So maybe
yeah, I thought it was Henry Cavill.
I know, me too. We'll call him not Henry Cavill. His weird son, who's also not Christmas Story kid.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I totally agree.
And the, what do you call it? The nanny, who's apparently also a terrible nanny. And I think that's all the main characters besides Hercule, the detective.
Yeah.
And Tina Fey is there, the author, and the butler. Not the butler, the bodyguard is there. Right?
Yeah, the bodyguard.
And I think these are the main players. Oh, and then since they're having a seance, we're trying to contact the mom's dead daughter. The former fiance shows up. I think he's 50 Shades of Grey guy. And he was mysteriously invited. Yeah. Even though he just wanted the money, but it turns out he really loved her too. He was the chef.
Yeah.
He was the chef and he wanted her to buy her many restaurants, but apparently the money went somewhere and they don't know where. That's part of the mystery of this thing. But anyway, Michelle Yeoh is the psychic or the medium, like she likes to say. She's a medium. And there's also a cockatoo in the room. And by the way,
I forget about the cockatoo.
Yeah, the movie starts like I say in Venice, and it's all bright and cheery. And then for the rest of the movie, for the bulk of the movie, it's super dark, super claustrophobic, and super creepy. And I think it really sells it because and then there's also like the motif of the plate kind of like hanging halfway off the table. That's how you know, that's how you know the ghost was there in a few scenes. So they do the seance, and then Michelle Yeoh is like spinning around, and things are opening back and forth. And then Hercule Poirot, being the illustrious detective that he is, like goes over to the fireplace and like opens it up, and the fake ship.
He's like, I saw a foot there. I knew somebody was in this
imposter.
Did someone hurt you?
Yes.
No!
Poirot, let her finish!
No! First, let us meet a secret confederate in the chimney.
I noticed that they opened the thing. He's got the thing, and he opens the thing. It is a phony. It is a fraud.
Like, I knew I was an engineer. I knew this radio thing you had.
Yes.
You're like, what?
Yeah, because she had a typewriter and it was dialing M for murder multiple times.
You made a mother believe her daughter's soul is in torment. This is not generous. Not gentle, not humble.
I felt pain. I saw a murder.
Did you see who killed Alicia Drake?
It was not revealed. Maybe tomorrow.
A lucrative convenience.
Why is this?
Terrors for children, Miss Reynolds.
Murder, murder. You're the murderer. She's spinning. You're the murderer. Talking in tongues and all that kinds of crazy stuff. And then, there are some more genuine creepy things that might have happened. They may think that maybe Michelle Yeoh wasn't quite, this, but there were definitely two engineers who were staging the craziness. There was the guy in the chimney, we'll call him Chimney Guy, and not Scarlett Johansson.
Not Scarlett Johansson. That's pretty funny.
You know what I'm saying, though, right? They were their brother and sister. Yeah, their brother and sister, and they wanted to go to America because America is great, right? These like Romani accents. America is where you want to be.
Want to go to Missouri?
Yeah.
You're like, oh God, no.
So Michelle Yeoh, the medium, ends up convincing Hercule Poirot to go bobbing for apples because all the party stuff is still there, even though all the kids have gone. And she puts a mask on him and puts a whole cape on him too. Yeah, she puts like a mask on, and the Grim Reaper, like it was like a sad crying mask. It was her mask from earlier. Yeah, and the Grim Reaper costume that she came in on. And then as he's bobbing for apples by himself, he gets pushed in the water and almost drowned. right?
Yeah.
And then
he passes out.
Yeah, he passes out. So he almost drowns, right?
Yeah.
And his bodyguard comes and saves him. Not Benicio del Toro comes and saves him. And just as he's kind of like getting his wind back, you hear a scream, and Michelle Yeoh has been pushed off a balcony, right?
And she is impaled by a statue.
Yeah, impaled by a statue. And then since there's a doctor who's not Henry Cavill, he does the autopsy, and then they say the time of death was midnight. But Hercule Poirot, being the illustrious detective he is, you did not see the time of death. Apparently, the watch was broken the minute it hit the statue. So there is a. I
was like, how convenient.
Yeah.
Croissant.
So it was 15. I forget the time, but it was just a different time than everyone said it happened. So there is a different story there. And then during this, I can't quite remember where it happened, but I know that Tina Fey made tea for Hercule Poirot. Right, because that was that was part of the story where she goes, all the cupboards are bare, but I found this tea in the linen closet for some reason.
I found the honey in the randomest place.
Yes, yeah, with her illustrious
in the linen cupboard,
old timey twingy voice.
Yeah.
And
then I think the nanny was like, "Oh yes, I forget where things go sometimes.
Yeah,
so busy."
Everyone has
terrible at these accents.
Everyone has an angle in this, but it sounds corny, but I like it. I like it because it's so over the top, right?
It is. It really is.
Now when this happens, for whatever reason, Hercule Poirot, even though he's a staunch detective who doesn't believe in ghosts, begins to see ghosts. He sees the little girl. He sees the ghost of she presumably she was like 20-year-old and she killed herself, but we see her as a little girl running around the place and trying to solve her own murder, but she doesn't talk, but like you just see her like nodding, being spooky. But the not Christmas not Christmas Story kid, he can see the ghost for sure. Like for some reason he is able to channel what Poirot is seeing. So there is some psychic ghost spooky stuff going on here too.
Yep.
And then trying to figure out how to zoom through all these clues.
Yeah, there's so many
stories because the mom, she was talking about like the honey. She was growing the honey in the garden, and the honey in the garden's great. And they kept on saying, "Where's the money?
These wild plants.
These plants just for a drop of honey. So we could have spent $1 for a lot of stuff with the honey. A lot of spooky noises from below. It turns out it was a gondola hitting the side since there's a storm outside.
Yeah.
They say, call the police. Hercule Poirot is on the case. All that stuff because they can't come because of the storm. They find the bodies of the dead kids, by the way, at the bottom of the basement.
Yeah, so that was crazy.
And then also
that, I was like, oh, no.
And the bees.
Oh, yeah.
There's a beehive down there. Another beehive, apparently. Uh-oh.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah.
One that was not expected.
Yeah, and since they're all suspects at this point, right? Everyone always said. And then the chef, the former fiance who had the most to lose, he makes tea and he puts the honey in his tea. This doesn't taste like wildflower honey tea to me.
Yeah.
This
tastes like crack.
Yeah. Tastes like crap is more like it. And then meanwhile, not Henry Cavill, the doctor, is having some PTSD moments.
Yeah, sorry. Really.
So they lock him in a room.
That guy's name.
Yeah, I know, right? They lock him in a room where there's no entrance and exits, and they just want him to chill out. And I remember thinking, like, he's gonna die in that room.
Yeah, dude is like out of his mind. PTSD. It's like this guy should not be left alone,
right?
At all.
Yeah. So suddenly he dies. He's impaled on a statue's sword.
Yeah.
And he gets stabbed in the heart. So there's 2 deaths now that need to be solved. With time running out.
Yes.
So
damn.
I know, right? He interviews everybody. And then he discovers, Perot discovers that his bodyguard, of all people, was in on it. But not the way we think it was. He was the cop who was called to investigate the death of the suicide of the girl. So he knew his way around the place.
And listen, I know we're going through this pretty quickly. We could take forever to explain this, but you really have to watch these things unfold, because as we're describing these things, Perot is saying these things, but there are scenes that are happening as he's describing this. So you're like really in it. Yeah. And at this point in the movie, you're really invested in it. So it's pretty fantastic.
And I saw it in theaters, and I saw it twice at home before this.
Yeah.
And you notice like things because he has been drugged, right?
Yes.
By now, maybe we've discovered that the honey is actually a drug, right? It's a hallucinogenic drug. And there's a scene where he's like looking at a piece of paper, and then all of a sudden, all the letters start disappearing on the paper, and it spells out apple.
He starts to only,
he's like,
red rum.
The apple. Okay. The apple. Like at the beginning of the thing. So he found out that his bodyguard, Tina Fey, and Michelle Yeoh, the séance lady, were all in cahoots to tell a story.
Yeah. When his hallucinogenic stupor gave him intuition beyond his normal recognition.
Gave him superpowers of the greatest.
He's like,
detectives.
I have an ultra hunch.
He even said it too. My perception has been altered to perform puzzles, to solve puzzles. I did not even realize we were there. So
it's terrible.
So he figured out.
I'm part French. I can say this stuff.
It's okay. I guess we're all part French when you really think about it.
Yes, we are. Croissant, croissant, croissant.
Yeah, croissant, caviar, escargot.
Oh, such good stuff. Such good stuff.
Anyway. So that's cahoots number one, and then cahoots number two was that the mom was being blackmailed, and he tried to figure out who it was, and he thought it was not Henry Cavill, and that's why he killed himself. Yeah. And it turns out it was actually the kid. He's apparently really smart, so it's not Christmas Carol kid who did it.
So the kid's name is Leopold Ferrier.
You see, he dresses like really nice.
He looks like he's about to go race horses. That's what he looks like,
and play like croquet.
Yeah,
polo. Polo. He's about to go. I don't know, hunt, like fox hunting or something on a horse. So he was the one blackmailing the mom because he knew what really happened. And what really happened by now is the honey was poisoned. And since her daughter was going to go marry the chef, the mom got really depressed. So when they broke up, she moved back in. So she was poisoning her. The mom was poisoning her own daughter with just
so that she could have her own baby back, which is so backwards.
I know, right? Is that Munchausen by proxy thing going on there?
Yeah.
And since this poison is so potent, even the smallest amount will kill a man. So you need just a little bit. So
your transitions, by the way, from non-accent to accent. Flawless.
I don't know, man. My brain. I am so tired. My brain. I don't know what I'm doing. I gotta go back and watch.
Listen, man. You're telling me you're 3 hours back in time over here.
Yeah, I sometimes I'm.
It might as well be tomorrow over here.
I'm back editing these things. I'm just chewing on my tongue for 30 minutes straight, and I got to fast forward all that. Oh man, this 2-hour review turned into 38 minutes because apparently I had a seizure halfway through it.
Oh man.
Yeah. Here's it. So what happened was the lousy nanny said to the mom, "It's okay, I'll take care of her for a while. I'll take care of your daughter for a while. You get some sleep." Yeah. So the daughter was having a fit in bed, just like having a psychotic fit or a seizure. Or something.
Yeah, she was literally having a psychotic break.
So the nanny, she did what all she could do, all she could think of was give her more tea flavored by the
warm tea to save her, to make her fall asleep longer.
Honey sweetened by poisoned honey. No, tea sweetened by poisoned honey. And they have it in black and white too with the thunder.
They do. And those cutscenes were awesome, by the way.
Yeah. And then no, I wouldn't kill my own daughter. And then the mom like goes up to like the balcony where she died. And then we see the ghost of the daughter standing behind.
Well, that's the thing we forgot to mention. So what happens with this vengeance of the children is anyone who gets killed by them typically is marked by them before they die.
Oh, yeah.
As they died. Yeah. So they get like a scratch to the back, like 5-finger death or something, whatever.
Like a Freddy Krueger slash.
Yeah, that's what it is. They get the Freddy Krueger slash. Nice nod, by the way.
Yeah.
And what happens is the mom comes into the room, finds out, she's like, "Oh no, my daughter, she was dead." So she literally picks up her dead daughter, takes her to the balcony, gets a freaking garden rake, those little tiny trowels.
Oh yeah.
And slashes her own daughter's back and then chucks her right off of the freaking balcony from the palazzo into the canal. Like, everyone was like a gasp.
Yeah. So because Michelle Yeoh was a nurse during the war, so she would have fallen victim to the vendetta. Yeah. And not Henry Cavill was a doctor, so he would have definitely fallen a curse to the vendetta.
Cannolis.
Napoli. We should see Napoleon too. Anyway, directed by Ridley Scott. Anyway, so
no need.
Yeah. So the mom ends up on the balcony. It wasn't me. You guys are all crazy. This and that. And that's why the not Christmas Story kid was blackmailing her to pay for the dad and him.
Yeah.
The dad didn't know, but he killed himself because the mom knew that someone was blackmailing somebody and they were going to go to jail unless he kills himself. And that's how that happened. He was so delirious, he went ahead and killed himself anyway.
One thing was the kid was using the money to pay his dad's debts.
Yeah.
Also.
Yeah.
Because he had been hurt in war. So the kid was using the funds for like the most like proper purpose and proper reason. And
he was paying his debts and he was saving the whatever he didn't. He's like, I saved most of it.
This kid was out there just spending money. He was like, he knew his dad had been hurt in war and was mentally unfit and was like still taking care of his dad. I'm like, come on, man.
Yeah. So he wasn't a bad guy, but he was extorting. Extorting a murderer. Let's put it that way. So
take that, M. Night. What a twist.
I didn't even like think about the M. Night twist murder mystery thing until like you just said it. Like, why?
Really?
Why?
Dude, the moment it happened, I was like, oh, I gotta plug this one.
Yeah, I can see why they keep on green lighting Kenneth Branagh's Agatha Christie verse movies.
Yeah,
Agatha Christie verse because
they're better.
Yeah, because they're better. He probably snaps a pencil every time he reads about A Knock at the Cabin breaking $400 billion at the box office.
He's like, why?
My movie has cinematography.
He's like, I do nothing.
I know. He has M. Night Shyamalan has Dave Bautista wearing a suit and tie. With his massive Grand Canyon neck fold or head fold on the top.
Yeah,
of his head.
He's somehow unbelievably like the nicest, softest guy. You're like, all right, whatever, dude. All right.
Yeah, I don't know. M. Night's one of those people who I honestly think made a deal with the devil. There's really no way.
He had to, dude. There's no way.
Because I don't know, especially that last one, the island or whatever it was.
Was it old?
Old.
I think it was Knock at the Cabin Door that came out after that one. So you got the green light for one after that. Phenomenal failure.
They're a phenomenal failure. If I'm going to do an unauthorized biopic of M. Night Shyamalan, it would be phenomenal failure, and it will have the last Airbender guy like that.
That would be amazing.
But it'd be M. Night with the
not even photoshopped correctly. Just like a very bad Photoshop of his head on there. I
know, right? All my penny Photoshops, I'll have to like dumb it down a little bit more for that one.
Yeah.
But anyway, so the mom gets pushed over the balcony in the thunderstorm with the ghost like behind her, and then the ghost pulling her down into the water. Now,
into the depths.
I don't know if this was an homage or if anyone even remembers this, but did you ever see What Lies Beneath? A long time ago.
Dude, I haven't seen that early forever. 2000s.
That one had an M. Night Shyamalan pretty good twist. Spoiler, I don't know if anyone remembers it, but that was with Harrison Ford and Michelle Pfeiffer, and they were a married couple. and Harrison Ford was the killer in that one, and he killed his lover, right? Because he didn't want her like coming out. And at the very end, the very last shot was like kind of a similar shot to this, with the lover in the water pulling Harrison Ford into what lies beneath the depth.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was good. That was good.
I'll tell you what, though. See What Lies Beneath, because there's a scene in that movie where Michelle Pfeiffer is paralyzed for some reason or another. And seeing that, I saw it in theaters. Your heart kind of stops for a minute in that scene because she's in so much danger. But I won't want to spoil that.
I'll have to watch it. Yeah, sounds good.
Yeah, that was a good one. I think I saw it again later on DVD after I saw it in theaters. Yeah. And it's one of those movies that didn't quite hold up. I think maybe because once the cat is out of the bag with the mystery, it's hard to actually. I did see. So I saw Haunting in Venice multiple times already, and I liked it each time. And I think the cinematography really saves that. Really makes you want to pick up more.
That's what happens.
Yeah,
good movies are made good.
Good filmmaking, and good acting. Just all around really good. So the epilogue is it's morning, day after Halloween, and the not Scarlett Johansson and her brother are going to go with the nanny. And not Christmas Story Kid, and they're all going to go to America and start a new life, especially since not Christmas Story Kid has all this extra money and needs a family to take care of him. So they're all going to band together, and they took the cockatoo with them. When I saw it in theaters, I thought, "What about the cockatoo?" But they had him in the boat when they were going down.
Oh, thank God!
Yeah, I was worried about the
bird is saved.
Hey, that's good filmmaking when you wrap everything up. By the way,
yeah, it was tight.
And then it ends with like the bodyguard and Tina Fey like, sorry we did it. He's like, it's okay. And then he goes Hercule Poirot, after solving the case once again, admitting he was poisoned, but he was able to still solve the case. And the weird little kid was like, "Did you see the ghosts? Were they real ghosts?" He's like, "I do not know. Maybe." Yeah.
The mystery lives on.
So he goes back to his home at the top of some other palace in Venice. Palazzo. And the guy who's been hounding him to solve his mystery, he goes up to him and goes, "I bet it's your brother. Your brother wants the life insurance policy that's put on you and all your other family."
Your doctor. It's his doctor.
It's your doctor. Something like that.
Doctor killed all of his family.
Doctor killed all his family. He did it.
Dr. Kevorkian.
You might want to watch your back until this happens. And then it ends with them talking at the top of the top
palazzo.
On the roof with a beautiful drone and / helicopter shot all around Venice, which sells the movie one more time. That's when it says based on a Halloween Party by Agatha Christie. Good movie.
Dude, it was great, man. I'm glad you were able to run through it, because I'm like, man, if I had been able to speak more, I'd be like, we'd still be in the first act. There's so much that happens. Like, you really, like, I'm not kidding. Anyone who wants to watch this movie, just watch it, enjoy, get some popcorn, really sit there, enjoy it. The sound, the visuals, just and
maybe
it's nice.
Maybe we'll look at Death on the Nile, Murder on the Orient Express, and make them a twofer.
Just to give it its due diligence.
Do the Agatha Christie, crispy.
Give it its crispiness.
Yeah. The Agatha Christie threesome. That's what we'll call it. But I hope there's more. But I am going to give this one a B. A Haunting in Venice is a fun to watch and fun to look at murder mystery filled with interesting characters and a great story. Having discovered that this is part 3 in an Agatha Christie cinematic universe, I want to go back and see what I have been missing.
Nice. So I'm actually going to go up here. I'm going to give it an A. And like I said, I want to feel it out for our review to see what we were going with. And the reason I'm going to give it an A is, 1, I didn't know it was part of a trilogy, which makes it even more enticing for me. But 2, I'm a cinema nerd. I love the way they work the angles, they work the colors. The cinematography was beautiful. And the fact that the guy who can solve everything still, the title still lives up to the name. It's still a Haunting in Venice. And you're just right there going, he didn't solve that. And it's because it's a ghost. It really makes it like a freaking Halloween movie that should have been. And, I'm going to enjoy it. I'm going to give it an A just because I can watch this one over and over again. And, there's good mustaches in it. That's all I can say.
Yeah, I got to love that. The Colonel Mustard mustache. Dude, I can't grow a mustache to save my life. Oh, they all turn into like you got this like this nice El Guapo beard going on. Over there.
I gotta freaking shave mine down. It's like it gets so thick I eat it. I'm like, this thing is thick.
I know
it pokes my face.
You can like scrub your like scrub pans with those things.
Yeah, I can exfoliate my fingernails.
Yeah, clean a pizza pan. But definitely check out A Haunting in Venice, especially on Halloween. Maybe we'll give it one more shout out. See A Haunting in Venice as a Halloween shout out. If you didn't see that, I didn't want to wait a whole year to cover that cinematography. That sweet cinematography. But anyway, that has been our hot take on A Haunting in Venice. Remember to like, share, subscribe, check us out on Twitter, Facebook, wherever you get your podcast information. We are all around. Check us out. We are still around. I'm your host, Marc Rubalcaba, joined once again by Mr. Abel Pineda for Clubhouse Movies Podcast. We will catch you next time.
Croissant, croissant, croissant.
Oh.